It's starting now. Thank you. My name is Lloyd Kodak. I am the chair of Toronto Trans Alliance. It's bringing you the meeting today. I would like to start by introducing Kane, who will be doing our land acknowledgement. Kane is an LCA graduate, Indigenous heritage, and identified conservative. His art has been focused on uplifting different themes in the LGBTQ plus community and has been displayed, which has been displayed across Canada. He will be joining us today in support of our community and to give land acknowledgements. Please welcome Kane.
Before we begin today's life-rating for Trans Day of Remembrance, I stand here honoring my people from Treaty 1, acknowledging the land under Treaty 13, and expressing gratitude for raising the trans flag in Toronto. Recognizing these lands as inviting and inclusive for all to call this beautiful place home. As we remember and honor trans lives today, let this land acknowledgement serve as a call to action, a reminder of our collective responsibility towards a future free from violence, discrimination, and injustice for all.
Okay, I'm taking the steps to start off with. Unfortunately, I am sad to have to report that since November 23, there has been an increase in the amount of deaths and murders and violent actions towards trans people. We're looking at 372 deaths, and it's estimated that the same number, 372 incidences that have happened as well, but have not been reported or have been misreported, which is something that happens quite frequently. Since the beginning of monitoring, the numbers are in the thousands. Hate towards the gender and gender diverse community members is being fueled by disinformation, rhetoric, and ideology that treats our community as political pawns. The U.S. election had a $250 million anti-trans campaign, of which $50 million was donated directly by Elon Musk. How anyone could hate that much is just beyond me. 77% of the murders were trans people of color, 50% of them being trans women, especially, of course, in countries outside of North America. Victims were an average age of 31.7 at their time of death. Half of the 372 were under age 35, with the youngest so far on record being 14 years old. That's the youngest death that has been recorded since tracking began. Also, there have been 3 places that have never had trans violence before that sadly this year have been reported trans violence. With the anti-trans movement that we're currently seeing, even in Canada, and the dangers, the restrictions that are being placed on our youth, it has never been more important that we take a stand and protect our youth. We have come a very long way in the past 20 years, and we cannot go backwards. We must continue to never give up and continue to fight for a better future. So, our first speaker today is going to be Angelo Seltzis. As we know, today's event is in honor of Claire. Claire's parents are divorced. Claire's father, always understanding and accepting of his child throughout. Unfortunately, her mother not so much. Claire's mother consulted organizations that recommended that Claire be sent to Kenneth Zucker for treatment. As we all know, Kenneth Zucker is well known for practicing conversion therapy. After being subjected to his conversion therapy practices, Claire lost her will to live and took her own life at the age of 18. Her loving and supportive father, Angelo, is with us today. Please welcome Angelo.
Thank you for the introduction. I have a hard time with this, so sort of, I cry along the way. When Claire returned to my house, she was 14 years old, just shy of her 15th birthday. From a positive perspective, she was actively attending the Sick Kids Gender Clinic. She was voluntarily attending all of her appointments, and she was complying with all courses of treatment that they had provided for her. Her next steps were to get her gender marker and to start with her hormone blockers. And this was a positive in her life. It's the thing that kept her going. It gave her hope. It let her know that she was getting to where she wanted to be. At this particular point in time in her life, she was deeply entrenched with the Child Protection Agency. She was also deeply entrenched with a mental health facility for youth that Child Protection Agency co-ran. And that particular agency made a decision that they would refer Claire to see Ken Zucker at the mother's request against Claire's wishes. Claire had no choice to go. What ended up transpiring from there was her gender marker was held hostage over her head, and she was told under no circumstances would she get the signature for her gender marker unless she attended all of the sessions that Ken Zucker had arranged for her. There were 3 of them. What makes this most appalling to me is the time they made these referrals to Claire. Claire was already hospitalized on 3 separate occasions for involuntary hospitalizations for being an imminent risk to herself. Her pattern of behavior, she was determined to take her own life, and they felt that the next logical step was to refer her to a conversion therapist who she was diametrically opposed to seeing. It completely undermined whatever little emotional stability that she had, and it sent her into a tailspin that she never recovered from. It left her unwilling to have therapy with any other professionals because it had left a taste in her mouth where she just had no more trust left. What's even more upsetting is during those hospitalizations and during all of the interactions with the Child Protection Agency, myself and my wife were excluded. Through all of the mass hospitalizations, we were never once notified as to what was going on. Through all of the Child Protection Agency engagements, we were never once notified as to what was going on. What's really outrageous about this is when I referred the hospital records from Claire's hospitalizations, the attending physician was insisting to get my input repeatedly. It was so important to the attending physician that he documented in the hospital records, not once, not twice, but on a daily basis, asking for my input, and neither the mother nor the Child Protection Agency saw fit to include me in that process, which I was requested to be in. I genuinely believe that if I had been involved 2.5 years later or earlier, and from when Claire ran away from her mother's home and came into my home, we would have had a much more positive outcome with Claire's life. I, from this point, have found myself in an endless loop of not being able to get answers. When I go to Jewish Family and ask why I was never contacted, the Child Protection Agency, what I am being told is to protect the mother's rights to privacy because she was involved, they can't give me any information. Their entire course of treatment was based on what the mother said and what the mother alone had to say. The most repulsive part about this is in 2006, that very same Child Protection Agency made a determination that the mother's credibility was so poor that moving forward in the future, they would have to disregard everything that the mother had to say. That all went out the window, and I can't get answers as to why that was. They won't say if it's because she was trans. They won't say if it was because she was in the state. I'm just unable to get any answers from it. The heartbreaking part is Claire was just one of the most incredible children you would have ever met. Her intelligence was off the charts. She had communication skills. In the 3.5 years that she survived living with us, what I saw was a house full of friends and loved ones, people that Claire genuinely cared for, and people that genuinely cared for Claire. It was to the point that it wouldn't even go away. It was a pleasure. My house was a revolving kitchen, keeping her friends entertained. She filled my house with laughter. My wife and I have so many happy memories sitting in the living room, listening to Claire laugh with her friends, having her come out and engage us in conversations at levels that were far beyond the average 14-year-old's abilities. She was a gift, and her gift was just discarded. And the very people that were supposed to protect her are the people that undermined her the most. And that's an injustice that just shouldn't stand. It isn't right. Her rights were violated by the people that protected her. I don't want to cry. I'd rather remember her happy. It's hard not to cry because 1.5 years after her death, I still have no answers. No one is willing to say a thing. I'm going to turn it back to you now, Boyd. And thank you again for inviting me up here to have a few words.
Thank you so much, Angela.
Thank you.
I can tell you that everyone in this room, everyone in my community, and all of our allies support you, and our hearts break for you and your wife and everyone that loves Claire. Terrible loss to our community, to our city, and of course to her family, father, and friends. Okay, move on. Next, I'm going to introduce you to Helen Rose. Helen is our newest member of TTA Management. She is a successful entrepreneur and activist for the underprivileged and women's rights. Helen has built and led startup businesses in the tech industry across North America and the Caribbean, where she promotes the importance of inclusion and diversity. After migrating from her family, after migrating her family from Trinidad and Tobago to Canada, she started on the road to rebuild herself as the woman that she was meant to be. Please welcome Kalis Rose. Carol and I will be thrown in, and we will be doing intros back and forth.
Hi. Okay, so it's lovely to see so many people coming out today. I know our community is known widely by the public for being exuberant, enjoying new lease in life, that sort of stuff. We have a stereotype of being extremely positive, colorful, but that is sometimes the thing that masks the truth of what is happening. And today, the Transgender Day of Remembrance is a somber day. It's a day that we remember those that we've lost to injustices, to just lack of human rights. Angelo, I can't imagine as a parent myself, I can't imagine the pain and the tremendous strength it took to bring us your story about Claire, and I think I would never want to experience that, and it's part of the reason I decided to try my best to do advocacy where I can, because my kids are young, and I do not ever want them to have any of these things, even if they grow up. I want them to respect people. I don't want them to have or be part of the problem, so to speak. And I think that's amazing that you were able to bring that story to us, and I think it's a fitting story to actually get out there. Because today is about us. It's about the hardships we go through, people we've lost, but more than that, the thing that is functional about it is being here, able to show and talk to people that is outside of our community, the vast public, mayor, politicians, everyone. Let them see as well what we see and what's underneath the happiness, the exuberance, the pride. So with that, I'll just move on to the next person to speak. I'm so happy to introduce Dawn Villeneuve. Dawn's work is largely guided by their own lived experience, and they are passionate about supporting Toronto's most vulnerable communities through harm reduction, therapeutic arts, and advocating for more accessible mental health programs and resources. Since graduating Yale University Transformation Leadership Academy in 2022, they teach art and music in a therapeutic context to those who struggle with mental health and addiction, particularly within the LGBTQ+ community. So Dawn.
Hi everyone, my name is Don. I guess the first thing I should say is thank you for showing up. That's one of the most important things. I'm not really good at public speaking, so I'm sorry if I sound like a robot, but I'm going to read from my paper. Also, it was nice to shake Loaded Child's hand, so thank you for showing up as well. It's also emotional for me as well. I've also lost a lot of people over the last 10 years, so it's kind of listening to everyone's stories is really personal as well. Let me take my glasses off. So my name is Don Vancourt, and I'd like to start by thanking Boy for inviting me to speak today. In the short time that I've known him, we bonded over a mutual love, compassion, and shared mission of improving access to support systems and resources for the most vulnerable groups in our community. Over the last decade, I've primarily worked closely with homeless, transgender, and non-binary youth, which is a hard road. So when you add mental health challenges, addiction, trauma, this equation inevitably leads to employment, housing patterns, barriers, and unfortunately death. I've had my own share of challenges in my lifetime, but for every person who caused me harm, I was lucky to have a support system that showed me love and acceptance. Many of the individuals I work with literally have no one, which makes me acutely aware of my privilege. It also highlights the need for community programs that actually work, and people behind them who genuinely want to make a difference in the lives of those who need support the most. When I first started working for the nonprofit sector, on more than one occasion, I heard it's the most corrupt sector to work in. I was naive and I thought I could prove that statement wrong. I would like to encourage people who make up our community to start sharing their stories, and for those in positions of power to listen carefully, because that truly is where power lies. Today is Trans Day of Remembrance, so I don't want to make this above my agenda. That said, I'd like to mention the names of trans individuals and allies I've worked with over the years who are not with us today. Mimi, Jesse, Rachel, Scott, Brianna, Tyler, Micah, and although I didn't know her, Claire. Please take a moment today to remember these lives and think about what you can do so we don't have to add to the list for years to come. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Don. I just want to add that during the reception, we'll be seeing a video that will show us all of the more people that we've lost in Toronto. And that was put together by Dawn, who has been doing that selflessly for numerous years. And we really, really appreciate his work. Next, we are going to have our Mayor, Olivia Chow. On July 12, 2023, Mayor Olivia Chow became the 66th Mayor of Toronto. She has served as a politician in various roles since 1992. Please welcome Mayor Olivia Chow.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. If you were here a little bit earlier, I hope that many of you got to say hello to Mayor Chow. As you can imagine, with the cross pressures of the role, she just was not able to say for the remarks portion, but we're so happy to be here on behalf of Mayor Chow and on behalf of City Council. And I'm here, my name's Asma Malik. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm very proud to be the City Councillor right here in Spadina, Fort York, home of City Hall, and welcome to you all. And I'm also Toronto's Deputy Mayor, and I'm joined by Councillor Chris Moyes and Councillor Paul Ainsley as well. And we are really honored to join you on this important day. And for 25 years, we know that this flag has been raised. It has been a remembrance and a mourning for Two-Spirit, trans, and non-binary community members who have lost lives as a result of transphobia and systemic violence. And today's flag raising is hosted by the Toronto Trans Alliance. And thank you for everything that you do to support Toronto's trans community and for doing it with so much care, thoughtfulness, fortitude, and that sense of welcome. We're also joined by Councillor Diane Sachs. Thank you for being here. And I do want to thank everyone who has shared their story with us at this podium today, and for everyone that we're here holding close and remembering with a heavy heart and continuing to do this work for. And thank you to Boyd and to Hilly for taking us through this ceremony this afternoon. And today, and we have heard it and we will express it again, is a poignant reminder of the work that still is left to be done despite the progress that the trans community has made through advocacy, through support, through solidarity, and through allyship, and that there continues to be staggering levels of discrimination and violence. We all received the handout here, and what has been mentioned is just one life lost to this sort of violence is absolutely unacceptable, and the rights that we are seeing are not just an opportunity for us to remember, but they're also a call to action. I want to thank you in particular, Angela, for sharing your story with us
today, and we know how challenging that is, and you shouldn't have to share that over and over again, right? And that is the work that we are here to commit to again, and that's why this opportunity for us to gather is so critical. And we see, as Boyd mentioned, that continued escalation of anti-trans rhetoric, organizing and violence happening across North America, and even right here in the most diverse city in the world. And each person we remember today is a life cut short and extinguished by that prejudice and that hatred that we continue to work to counter, and that commitment that we affirm today to do so much more. And in the city of Toronto, we are committed to combating this hate and supporting our trans neighbors and colleagues. And we established the city's guidelines for accommodating gender identity and gender expression to ensure that we are walking the talk as a city and ensure that everyone feels welcome working for the city or accessing public city services. And to everyone who's here and has been a part of this work, thank you for your courage and your determination, for your authenticity, and for continuing to invite us to be alongside each other in this work, and the work that we're doing together to help foster greater understanding and build bridges between people and generations and cultures, particularly in this city that we love. And as I mentioned, this is a day of remembrance and of mourning and of continued action. And by working together, and you know this well, we create a city that is safe for all of us, and particularly today we are talking about how we make this city safe for trans people and the trans community. And we must work together relentlessly to hold on to equal rights, to continue that we further them, and to hold fast to our collective work and our collective compassion, empathy, and care for each other, and fostering that inclusivity in every space that we are, whether that's here in City Hall, in our schools, in our workplaces, in our communities. You know, we talk so often about a city for everyone and a city where we all belong, and we make it real through our collective actions. A place and a city that we can be proud to call our own and where we all thrive. And that means the continued opportunity for us to have those conversations about gender identity and expression, to stand up against hate and discrimination, and to be good allies and colleagues and be in solidarity with each other. Thank you very much for the invitation to have us join this important ceremony, and I'm going to turn it over to Councillor Moyes to read the official Mayor's Declaration. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Malik, and thank you all for inviting us here to be part of this ceremony here today. My name is Councillor Chris Moyes. I'm also chair of the 2S LGBTQ Advisory Committee here of the city, and I'm going to read the proclamation. Trans Day Remembrance, November 20th, 2024. Whereas today, on the Trans Day of Remembrance, we join the global community in honor and remembering trans people who have lost their lives to anti-trans violence. The first Transgender Day of Remembrance was held on November 20th, 1999, 25 years ago, in honor of Rita, Hester, and Chanel Paquette, who were killed in Boston simply for being trans women. It is sad to note that approximately 70% of trans youth in Canada, many of them people of color, experience sexual harassment or violence. Trans youth of color are underserved members of Toronto's 2S LGBTQ plus community and often experience neglect, bias, and violence because of transphobia and racism. Today is a day of reaffirm our commitment to coming together to build a safe, more inclusive city where Toronto's trans community can live free from the hate and violence they experience. Trans people are relatives, friends, neighbors, and community members, and we must be allies, making them and their communities feel valued in Toronto residents. We find great hope and optimism in the trans community's determination, courage, and strength to live authentic lives in the long history of trans activists who have made these issues visible. The City of Toronto strives to ensure the fundamental rights of all Torontonians. We are committed to creating a safe community for all, where people can freely express their gender and participate fully in society without fear of repercussion. By continuing to apply a gender equity lens in its programs and services, the City of Toronto is actively working to create an inclusive Toronto for all. We are stronger when we work together to help create a Toronto where diversity is embraced and everyone feels welcome and valued. And so today, Mayor Goodchild and the entire council proclaim today Trans Day Remembrance 2024.
Thank you so much. Okay, thank you so much. Deputy Mayor and all the councilors for being here today. I can't tell you how much we appreciate your support and your showing up for us today. Next, we are going to hear from one of my favorite people in the entire world, former MPP and a champion for the trans community, Sherry DeNova. Sherry DeNova is the United Church of Canada. Sherry DeNova is the United Church of Canada minister, former MPP, published author, queer activist, and as I said, trans community champion. She performed the very first same-sex marriage in Canada and has successfully introduced numerous bills, which include Toby's Act, which included transgender rights under the Ontario Human Rights Code, and the anti-conversion therapy bill. Please welcome Sherry.
Thank you, Boyd. No greater champion than Boyd Kodak right here for trans rights. I wanted, after Angelo's moving talk and commemoration of your daughter, Claire, I wanted to reiterate what rights we have won, because now it's about enforcing those rights. So in 2006, when I was first elected, I introduced Toby's Law, and it took 5 different tablings, and finally we passed it. And that we were the first jurisdiction in Ontario in North America of any significant size to add transgender identity and gender expression to our human rights code. And that then spread across Canada. So that is in code, and that is the law. In 2015, my bill banned conversion therapy. Again, first in Canada, spread across Canada, second in North America after California, and you should be suing the ass off all those people who did not provide care, because Kenneth Zucker was fired from CAMH right after my bill passed, fired. He said he retired, he was fired, and that conversion therapy clinic was shut down. And the ED of CAMH called me on my home phone, a little creepy, didn't know how she got that number, and she told me that that is what they were doing because we banned conversion therapy. And there have been this many lawsuits. The Law Society of Ontario is that thick with lawsuits. He should not be practicing. He should not be practicing. You're here. So make sure he does it. And he's also very fast on the lawsuit trigger. He's a friend of Jordan Peterson's, another name we will not mention. Did I mention it? Oops. So just remember that. And today I bring you greetings from the government of Ontario, and I mean that, not just the opposition parties. Today, my last bill when I was in the House was the Trans Day of Remembrance. And we are the only jurisdiction that I know of in the world that requires every legislator right before question period to stand for a moment of silence and then speak to it, which is what happened today. 5 minutes for each political party. There were over 300 people in the room, and while we're here, they're raising the flag there to commemorate Trans Day of Remembrance. And the Conservative Party, a man stood up whose daughter is trans, who's been an ally on the Conservative side. They signed on to that bill too, promised, put the flag down basically, and said, never in Ontario will we be a jurisdiction, I want to say it for him, like Alberta, like Saskatchewan, like New Brunswick, that will discriminate against trans folks. I cannot tell you, as somebody on the opposition side, how important that is. We are the biggest province in Canada, and let's hope they hold to that. Keep their feet to the fire on that one, because that promise was made publicly today. So I bring you greetings from that. I bring you also a call to please, please act across the aisle. Talk to your members of your family, to your members of your community, to people at work who say untoward things, who have transphobic ideas. Talk to them. We cannot afford just to preach to the choir anymore. We need to speak to those who hold different views and to, bring them along in love and compassion, because we cannot stand for one other death. Never again should be our cry. Never, ever again should a child die. Never again. And I went from state to church to state to church. And what I'm doing next year is speaking. I've spoken at the Ontario English Catholic Teachers. I was their keynote at their AGM. 1,000 teachers in that room, standing ovation, supporting trans rights, supporting all that we stand for in this room. We need to keep doing things like that. So next year, that's what I'm doing. I'm speaking at boards, I'm speaking at universities, I'm speaking in schools, because we need to keep our children alive. That is the great call upon us, please. That is the call today. So please, wherever you are, whatever you do in your day-to-day, make sure you are the voice that will save a child's life. And with that, I just say, God bless, and keep on keeping on. Thank you.
Wow, that was extremely powerful. Thank you so much. Did you feel that energy? Okay, so I'm happy to introduce the next speaker. She is Matea Blake. Matea is an artist in the community and community outreach, harm reduction and arts program coordinator. Sponsored by Arts Etobicoke and a member of the Toronto West Alliance for Women and Transgender Indigenous People of Color. Please welcome Matea.
Hello, thank you. My name is Mataya. I'm a community arts outreach program coordinator. I was sponsored by Arts Etobicoke, and I went to school for performing arts. I went to Earl Haig, Claude Watson School of the Arts program. So I'm an elite drama major. I did stage arts, and my parents, they were always very liberal. However, being homosexual seemed to be okay. My father, he was very supportive with the whole Spice Girls and Barbies and all that kind of stuff. However, when I decided to identify as female, that's when I realized that things became a lot more difficult. Not only, like, it's not like you saying something about preaching to the choir. It became like you just don't talk at all. Like, being gay was accepted, but being trans is very hard, like even to this day, for people to understand what's happening, why I identify as female, the different levels and the different layers of transness. So I don't know, is it even really safe to talk to people about who we are and what we represent? Because there's so many different versions of trans people. There's so many different layers of a trans person's journey. So like, I ended up running away from home at 14. I got onto drugs, I was partying, I dropped out of school, all that kind of stuff. And that was because of lack of support at home. Now, luckily for young Claire, she had a father to run to. However, my father was also battling addictions as well. Sorry. So yeah, my dad, he likes vodka. We're also Trinidadian. My family is also Trinidadian. So I was born in Canada. My mom was born in Poughkeepsie, New York. My father was born in Trinidad. and he came up here when he was 7. So he was very liberal, like I said, he was okay with the homosexuality and all that, but trans, he's like, no, your name is this, and you'll always be that, and this is how it is, and ting. And he's like, because he's always drinking, his thing is, his philosophy of life is that the only spirits he does believe in is these spirits in the LCBO. So that's what my father, he's very, very ignorant. Very ignorant. And because my mom's side of the family was super spiritual, I say was because my mom is dead. She passed away in 2000, I don't remember when she passed away, but my mom passed away. And so that side of the family was very Christian, very Catholic, very spiritual. And then my dad's side of the family, they just like shun things, you know? So like I'd be trying to talk to him about Jesus or God or Ganesh or Buddha. And he'd be like, child, I tell you already, I don't believe in them thing. I don't be doing them spirit thing. You're only one way. Your spirit and thing is not a boy and a girl. There ain't no spirit. So he was very negative about me being dual and about me having dual energy. He just said, you're a gay boy. That's the way I look at it. Even now, today, he's still alive and drunk. If I call him, he'll probably say the same thing to me. So kudos to you. I love good parents. I had a beautiful mom. She's my angel to this day. She's right here with me. And God knows that I'm not lying. Like, she's the one helping me get through this right now. I am not good with being on stage and stuff, especially since she passed away. So yeah, thank you everybody. Thank you good fathers. Thank you good moms, stepmoms. And thank you community leaders and mentors and outreach workers. Thank you everybody.
Sorry. Okay. We are going. Our next speaker is going to be a video projection. Following that, we will be having a moment of silence, and then we will have flag raising. So the speakers that wish to go outside and do the actual flag raising will be going with Helen here, and I guess partway through this video, perhaps you guys can start getting out of here. Okay, next we are going to have a video from Trans Youth Polly Scare. Many of you will recognize her as Stella Skinner. That was the name that she originally chose when she first transitioned, but she has now chosen to change that to Holly Scare. She has been a highly contributing activist from a very young age. She gives university lectures, and she was the poster child, actually, for Cherry Nova's anti-conversion campaign. So, are we able to? Yeah.
Hello. In 2012, I was 4. I didn't have the words to express that I wasn't the gender they assigned me. But that year, Sherry DeNovo and Susan Gatka, and others, passed Toby's Law, the first trans human rights legislation in North America. It was a huge win, but we still face discrimination. By the age of 6, I started coming to Toronto to find my people. I learned about the issues facing us. I raised flags, sat on panels, spoke to legislators, all were getting harassed daily at school. The day conversion therapy was banned in Ontario, I was in the legislature, silently celebrating its passage with jazz fingers to retain decorum. We felt such relief that this barbaric practice would never be used or funded in Ontario. But even now, there are doctors still killing kids this way. What more do you want from us? We're out here, visibly at risk, advocating and changing laws in hopes that the next generation is harder to annihilate. What more do we have to do just to safely exist in our bodies? How many more of us have to die to make you an ally? The Trump rhetoric is here. I don't know what's coming other than fleeing American queer kids. Our elders have already fought so hard. And at this point, this 16-year-old trans kid is tired. We're going to need everyone out there to stick rainbows to your doors and support your local vulnerable people. And be the loudest ally you can humanly muster. We have to retain all we have gained. My name is Holly Skinner. I'm here, I'm queer. I've learned from the best, and I'm not going anywhere.
Holly, as I said, she's so incredible, so intelligent, truly a gift to our community. I'm not sure what happened with the video. It wasn't, as you saw, the audio and the video were not in sync, but it was. So I'm sorry about that. Technical issue somewhere along. It was great. Okay, so next we are going to have a moment of silence. So Halen, if you can head outside with the any of the speakers that wish to go raise the flag. And